Welcome to the show, Dragoş, Czinjepolschi.
Nice. Hi. Nice to be here.
Good to have you, man. How are you doing?
Yeah, not bad. I just winter holidays, nothing much going on after those.
Yeah, yeah.
We're just trying to catch up with admin and see people, organize oneself.
Yeah. I saw you just came back from your trip, right? To
Yes.
Japan?
Yes,
How
I've been in Japan. Mainly I wanted to take my parents and my girlfriend wife. We went together to Japan, and then after that, I stayed a bit because I wanted to work on a personal project, basically. The start of a personal project, yeah.
what was the personal project?
Well, um, it might be something. I don't think it's a documentary. I think it's more like a video essay. Uh, Tokyo being the largest city in the world, it's also the loneliest city that I've seen.
Yeah.
But despite that, in every neighborhood there are these local bars. You have them everywhere. They're called izakayas. Um, the local ones where people from the neighborhood hang out every evening are very similar to the living room of the neighborhood, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, it, Japanese people are not very open people. You don't really know uh, what they think about things. But when they have a couple of drinks, they slowly open up. And it feels like those bars are the only place, one of the only places where people can actually relax a bit and make friends and socialize. So that's what I've just been doing. I've been going to bars and getting drunk and talking with strangers, basically.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's
I bet
still
you get like a few cool stories out of that.
there's yeah. I've met a lot of interesting people. You meet all kinds of people from all walks of life, if that makes sense. And recently, because relationships are very important, business cannot be made without having a very good personal relationship with whoever you want to make business with. I spent a long time trying to befriend the owner of the bar so I can film and record there, which happened this time basically because I've been there a couple of years, and this year I managed to film uh, one evening, one weekend, like from 7 p.m. until 3 a.m. in the morning, and also record sound and the conversations people were having throughout the night. So yeah, it's interesting. It's slowly becoming something. I need to go through the footage. There's too much. There's too much
But
footage, but yeah.
it sounds very interesting. I bet you get yeah, it's a whole different culture, a whole different thing. And
Mm,
the working culture there were just they just work and they're generally like a bit more closed up just
hmm.
from the culture side of thing and then yeah, to get like them really opening up about their personal life and everything. Sounds really interesting, yeah. I lo-
Yeah,
would
I
love to
enjoy
see it
it.
when it comes out. Send it to me.
Oh yeah. First, I need to make something.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a work in progress. Basically, yeah. There's a lot. I don't want to rush it because I can't pretend I understand the culture fully. So I need to make sure I get it right, basically.
No, yeah, that's really good. That's really
Mm.
good. Um, nice. And yeah, you just finished Sweet Pea, and then this was kind of like your relaxing trip, a little bit
Pretty much, yeah.
calming down. How long was Sweet Pea again?
6 months, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Yikes. Yeah, 6 months from June until December.
Yeah, and you didn't really have much time off, right?
No, it was quite intense. We the schedule was mental. We did a lot of 6-day weeks as well, a lot of night shoots. Usually, when you shoot TV series, you divide it into blocks most of the times. So half of it is being shot by a director, and the other half is shot by another director and another DP, most likely. Some TV series have the same director and DOP throughout, but usually it's split in two blocks. And in between those two blocks, usually you have a 2 week holiday, or but we didn't. We just went through straight through both seasons. Yeah. Sorry, straight through both blocks. One
Yeah,
season.
there's also second season.
Yes.
Yeah, it's so interesting, like how you just go through all this time, and like I think most people don't realize how long that can actually be if you like for six, like one day on set is really exhausting,
Mm,
and that times I think it was at the end like 80 days or something, or over 80 days.
I think so.
That
Yeah.
is insane. At the end, you're just like, my brain would be just slushy at the end. And
It is.
I
It's
worked
quite.
there, yeah,
It really tests relationships as well within the team and between departments, because it gets people need to keep a very level mind, because things can go south very quickly, and then you can have arguments with other departments or with your team, and then just ruin the whole mood for the rest of the job. Yeah, it's tricky.
you have to remember you're still stuck in there with those people for the next like then I don't know 60 more days or something.
Yep. Yep.
So don't ruin the relationships too quickly.
That's the thing. That's why. That's another thing. I think I have learned to accept the fact that um, relationships matter more than anything, than most of the things in this industry. Because if you're stuck with the same people for 6 months, you have to get along, because otherwise it's going to be a nightmare. I have colleagues who worked on even bigger jobs where the teams are just horrible. So yeah, it it's important to have a good chemistry with the department you work in. Other departments, it doesn't matter that much, but it's your main department.
Yeah, it's like a family. If it's bad, if you're bad with your family, then you have a bad time, right? Like
Hmm.
it can make your life really difficult.
Yeah, yeah,
um, so you also were the rigging gaffer on season one, and then rigging gaffer on season two. Can you explain what a rigging gaffer does, and what's the
of
difference
course.
between the different roles in this, yeah, the system?
Hmm. So depending on the scale of the job, you can have multiple roles within the electrical department. This one, so the bigger the job is, the more stuff you have to do, and the schedule is quite intense. So, for example, there's a shooting crew and a rigging crew. Um, Obviously, the shooting crew is what it says. You, you are the electrical team that is on the shooting day with the DOP and the director and the whole lot. And then the rigging crew is the crew that builds everything and strikes everything before and after the shooting day. So, this being a larger scale TV series, there was a lot of stuff to shoot. So, the shooting crew would jump from one set to another every day, or from one stage to another every week or so. Um, so, that meant everything had to be ready
Yeah,
on the shoot day, basically. That makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah, makes sense.
So, um, the rigging effort, the structure of the department, the sub department, or whatever it's called, is the same as the lighting department. Basically, you have a person in charge, which is the rigging gaffer, and then you might have a rigging charge hand. Sometimes you might have a rigging desk op. Sometimes it depends how big it is. But I think most of the times it was just me as the rigging gaffer, and then I had a team of sparks. Um, and sometimes the desk op would come in and help. Normally you have the desk op who and the rigging desk op who does all the data stuff. But for some reason on this job,
Not always.
we had to do it. So
Yeah.
you need to, yeah, it depends on the scale of the job. Sometimes you need to know how to do a bunch of stuff, including data stuff like running DMX, addressing lights, blah blah blah. Yeah. Um, on Sweet Pea, yeah, I was a rigging gaffer. I was talking with so the gaffer and the DP had their plan. They knew exactly what they want to achieve, and they made plots sometimes, and then I had to execute their vision and make sure everything is set up for the shooting day, whether it was a big location or uh, a stage, lighting a stage or stuff like that.
And like, what relationship did you and the best boy have? Were the best boy above you and gives you the more like stuff to do, or is what is the difference between rigging gaffer and best boy?
So the best boy sometimes this is a strange thing. The best boy sometimes can also be a rigging gaffer if it's necessary, if the job is small, because um, usually the gaffer, the best boy, and the rigging gaffer, all three go to all the recce's, all the tech recce's, and they know in advance what needs to be done, long time in advance. So even if there is no rigging gaffer, the best boy is always there. So the best boy knows whatever the gaffer knows. So in that case, I mean, everybody's the best boy and the rigging gaffer are on the same level. The best boy deals with all the um, equipment lists, all um, the crew management, basically, making sure there are enough people throughout the job, depending on what you have to do. Um, Also organizing equipment drop-offs and pickups because you have a standard amount of kit that you use for the whole job, like the shooting kit, and then depending on each location or what studio you're in, you're gonna have to hire extra kit and return the kit. So it's a lot of uh, it's logistics. I
Yeah, a lot
think
of different
mostly, yeah.
logistics.
So the best way, and also when you're on recce's, yeah, from what I've seen, I've been working with one team mainly, so I only know how things are done on this side. Uh, because the gaffer is always busy with the DOP, walking around and talking. Okay, I need the soft light there. We need the machine there. Blah blah blah. The best boy or the rigging gaffer, or both, take notes of everything that's being said on the tech recce, and then after the tech recce, in the prep before the shooting starts, you go through all the scenes, all the shooting days, and you make plans for what all the locations, and you make plans. You start drawing the plots basically because sometimes the DP would draw a plot, but I think it's mainly the gaffers. I mean, maybe the DP storyboards as well with the director. So maybe they make a plan for camera, and then based on that, you start making the lighting the lighting plot. If that makes sense.
And
So
lighting plot is basically just a location with like is that what we had where it's just a map with circles basically where the different lights will be and where
exactly, yeah, like
machines will be and
exactly,
just
yeah, 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 yeah.
okay.
So because both the best boy and the rigging gaffer are involved in the recce's, um, they both know pretty much the same thing. But the best boy is responsible for all the logistics. They don't have to draw anything or because they have enough on their mind. Because it's more the best boy and the gaffer need to make sure they are within budget. both with people, because you have a budget for people, for crew, and you also have a budget for lighting. So you're always back and forth with production trying to haggle and also try to explain why you might need more people or more time in a location or for a stage, or if the turnaround is very quick between the same stage. Let's say you only have one stage and you have to turn around from one set to another set. You need, in a very short time, you need a lot of people. There's no other way, for example. So all these logistical things. That's what the gaffer and the best boy talk about. But usually you also have a rigging best boy. That's the thing. So it depends on how big, because this was quite a big job, and I think the best boy was stretched thin. He
Yeah,
had
he
a
had a
lot of
lot
stuff
to do. Yeah,
because he had to deal with all the rigging kit as well. Usually you just have a rigging best boy who's only responsible for anything that's rigging. Let's say we have 5 locations to rig and de-rig in 1 week. They organize everything.
yeah.
Crew, equipment, yeah, all that stuff.
It's funny. I asked him, and he said he is also willing to do like one episode where he just explains a bunch of stuff.
Awesome,
So
yeah, that's
it's
great.
perfect.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
you
don't.
can
I,
you don't have to explain everything about that part, because then they will be covered by that
no,
episode.
sorry.
No, it's good. Like you can, it's super helpful. I just mean like there's so much more in all this
hmm
stuff, right?
hmm
So yeah, it's a whole like it's such a logistical like nightmare when you just don't know. Like if you start getting into it, you're like, okay, 50 things on the to-do list every day, and then
hmm
you come in. A crew needs to come in pre-light, put all the stuff down. Then the shooting crew comes, shoots with that light, brings their own kit, shoots
hmm
everything,
hmm
and then almost directly afterwards, it comes the breaking down team, and they just broke down all the lights, put it all in a van, and send it back to whichever rental house it is with the kit
hmm
they were extra rented.
Yeah, yeah.
That's yeah. That was a
And
very fun experience where we did that. It was so like I never knew like how like, but it makes so much sense. Like obviously you need this many people. You need a crew to build it, then shoot and de-rig it. Otherwise, you cannot shoot that like every day.
that's the
It's
thing. And
just
also, time is money. So that's because you could have the same thing doing everything, but it would be horrible. It would take a long time. It mostly boils down to the actor availability, to be honest. That's where everything trickles down. Let's say you have 80 days to shoot, but then your lead actor is only available for 20 days. So in that case, you have to, in those 20 days, you need to shoot everything that needs to be shot with that actor. Regardless if you have to break a stage, build it back again after the actor leaves and all that kind of stuff. So things can get complicated very quickly. And you're also not the only department. So everything, every department is a support department towards the film. So you need to respect other people's time as well. Let's say if you're lighting a set, obviously the set needs to be built. And the structure, depending on what place you're building the set in, maybe you need to build a superstructure to hold the set. And then you need the rigging team. So you need to allow time for everybody to do their thing, to do it in a proper way, because otherwise if everybody's on top of each other it gets really messy, and then the set ends up looking like shit. Because it's extremely disorganized. There's stuff everywhere. There's cables where cables shouldn't be, and you don't have access to things because they were built in a weird way. It's yeah, it's a lot of stuff to think about. You're building something from scratch. So organization is key.
could you maybe like run us through like I give you like an example, and you just run me through the steps which you would go through like from beginning till end. So it's like a bit more like in a practical way. So if the DP says, okay, we need to it's like a maybe an example from Sweet Pea. We need to reshoot a scene on a ferry, but we rebuild it in a studio. Um, what would be your first steps? Because the whole studio needs to be rigged. There needs to be like plans. There needs to be like everything. You need to equipment needs to be like
Yeah,
be
when
able to
the
organized and send away and everything. People need to be organized. What are the
yeah, so
steps?
the thing reshoots are everybody's worst nightmare because um, most of the times the reshoots are not they were not planned for. I mean, usually reshoots happen because something didn't go well during the shoot, or
Yeah, which can
you
always
need
happen.
yeah that always happens. You always have reshoots on every job I've been on. There were reshoots, all scales. So then that is you the most important thing with reshoots is that you have to be organized in your work during the shoot and know and keep a record of how things have been done, have proper plots for everything, because if you have to come back to that, you can do it quickly. If you don't keep track, let's say um, you have a sudden, like an unexpected location you have to light. You don't have time to make plots. You don't have time to make anything. You just have to go light it, shoot it, and leave. Um, if you ever have to go back and reshoot something that was shot in that location, you're screwed because you have to try to. There's things are being forgotten very quickly because there's so much stuff going on. You might forget. Oh, what did we use? If you don't have photos or anything from the set, you're like, oh,
Yeah.
what we had a machine. Where was it? Was it there? Was it behind that bridge? I can't remember. What did we use a 30K generator or did we have mains? Did we use our own truck? All kinds of yeah. So you have to be organized all the fucking
Yeah.
time,
And
basically.
there's so many sets like doing like through all this time, there are probably like 30 sets,
Yeah,
something, right?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
that you
It's
visit.
insane. So let's say in the worst case scenario, you have to reshoot something. Um, basically, references are the most important thing. So most likely I mean, most for sure, the gaffer is gonna get references from the DP with everything that was shot in that location, and you just have to match. You need to do anything at all costs to match that look.
Yeah.
So let's say you're shooting on a ferry. Um, I don't know. You're missing some shots. You have to shoot more. That was more. You need more coverage from that ferry. So in that case, you rent a stage. You make a quick. Whenever the reshoots happen, usually there's less budget as well. The budget is running out towards the end of towards the end of the show, so you have to do it in a very efficient way. So you try to make it as simple as possible, even though it is a complicated set. I mean, you still need to build the corner of the ferry. You still need to put green screen all around and light it and la la. So yeah, you get references. You talk with the DP. The production designer is gonna send you the plot of the set because
So the
most of the times,
measurements and everything, yeah.
yeah, that's what. So lighting is very close to production design. Should be in a very close relationship with production design because they have all the dimensions for all the sets if you have to build a set. So you depend on their information. So once you have that, you start drawing a plot with the DP, or if the DP doesn't have time, you just draw the plot. Hopefully, the gaffer knows what the DP wants usually. So you have the plot, and then the team meets up. The gaffer, the best boy, and the rigging gaffer, or maybe just the gaffer and the rigging gaffer, um, and starts talking about okay, what we need these kind of lights there and there. What kind of power do we need? Where do we run power? How many do you? we need to build a 40 by 40 softbox above the ferry, for example.
And then that needs to be done before the whole structure even starts. Because if
Yeah.
before the thing is like when the set is already there, you cannot put a frame up into the ceiling or like just really not really. Yeah, stuff needs to
Mm.
be done in a like
In this
specific
case,
order.
yeah, yeah. For example, in if you have a very large, it depends on what stage you work in, because some stages have a gantry. So while the team is building the set, you can run power at the same time. So you run on large stages, you have a place that's called the switch room where all the power comes from. So from there, you run all your cable out of it, along the wall, all the way into the ceiling. And then from the ceiling, you start running power lines to every set they're building, and then you drop them from the ceiling. That can be done at the same time, but that's big, expensive stages. You don't have that. You don't see that too often.
Yeah,
Only like Pinewood and uh, I don't know, Sky Studios, whatever, Universal, whatever, bigger studios have that. We were in a smaller, older studio, so there was no gantry. So in that case, we had to do our thing first before the set was built. So we had to run all the power, build a 40 by 40 softbox, wrap it up, make sure put the softbox and all the lights around the set were on motors. So we had, and that's what the rigging department does. They install the structure and the motors and the controls for the motors. We had to make sure everything works in a very, very short amount of time. It was
yeah.
a very short amount of time to build that stage because we were running out of time schedule wise, and um, yeah, actor availability and all that stuff. So yeah, you build, lighting comes in first in that scenario, builds everything, runs all the power, and then set comes in and starts building the set, and then you come in again and complete the set because the set had practicals. So because it's a ferry, you have all kinds of lights here and there. So we had to run power for all the lights and then also light the ferry with um, whatever floor equipment we needed.
And who gets who organizes the riggers? Like who's in charge of getting those people to do exactly what you need to do?
So there is an HOD rigger, head of department rigger. So it's the same level as the gaffer. It um, they go on all the recce's as well. So the HOD rigger knows
Okay, they
everything.
know
You have
from
to
the
know.
beginning on. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And then the gaffer and the rigger, the HOD rigger talk, and they're like, okay, we need a 40 by 40 softbox. This has to be in it. You need to give them the weight. So you give the riggers all the information. Usually weight is the most important thing.
With
Obviously
with
dimensions.
all the lights and everything,
Hmm.
yeah.
Hmm.
How much distance between the softbox and the lights and everything, right?
Yeah.
Um, then
Yeah.
that there needs
So
to be an entry with power and everything.
hmm hmm but that where power comes, it's less their concern. They just need to know the dimension. So the riggers need to know the dimensions of the box or whatever they're building, the weight, because in every location and studio, there's certain points that they need to rig into to take all the weight, and there's a maximum uh, weight you can put on those points as well. So, for example, initially it was supposed to be a 60 by 40 softbox, if I'm not mistaken, but then weight was an issue. So we had to shrink the box and put less lights in it. It was still fine, but this is a conversation you have. So the gaffer and the HOD rigger talk about this. And then um, if there's small changes or sometimes your plans don't really match what's going to happen on the stage, maybe, I don't know, uh, last minute changes or yeah, they change the position of the set or Yeah, space is usually a problem. You have to adapt, and then you don't you can the rigging gaffer can talk with the um, HOD rigger straight away and be like, oh, we need to move this a bit. You ask the gaffer. Communication is very important, basically.
You're
You need
constantly
to.
going back and forth with everyone,
Hmm.
yeah,
Hmm.
with
Hmm.
the main people, because they're probably shooting while you're rigging this thing, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Everybody's busy all the time, so you need to be as efficient as possible. If there's stuff that you can solve without bothering anybody, you solve it. But then you still need to keep people informed. It depends on what relationship people have in the department. If the gaffer trusts you with most of the stuff, you can just go and do your thing. If there's changes, if there's small changes, it's fine. Or if you have alternatives you have solutions to, um, what did I want to say? Sorry.
The
If,
solutions to problems and stuff, yeah.
yeah, if, I mean, if you can solve a problem and somehow achieve the same result, it's fine. You can change stuff a bit. You can't just change the whole
Yeah.
thing, but
Yeah,
yeah.
because then the gaffer would arrive and everything would be different, and then but then yeah, if you but it's such an important job. Like if you don't do your job properly, then the gaffer arrives with the whole crew the next day, and stuff is not done or doesn't work, or
Oh yeah, yeah,
and then you're fucked.
yeah. Pretty much. Yeah, that's the thing. You need to make sure everything is in
And
its
then
best.
and
Um,
test everything. Make
yeah,
sure when you're shooting outside, it's waterproof and doesn't like just get killed overnight through like a rainstorm or something.
that happened. Rain, man. Oh my God, rain is the worst enemy, especially in the UK because it rains all the fucking time.
Yeah,
Waterproofing stuff is extremely important. We've had so many problems. Even on the first season, we were shooting late autumn, and um, we rigged the location. We tried. I mean, we bagged everything,
yeah,
but then when the shooting crew came, I was on the shooting crew actually. So it's funny. So I rigged that place,
yeah,
and then there were two teams, so they had to shoot there were two units shooting basically. So the gaffer was with the DP in a different place, and I was with the second unit. And um, stuff started tripping. It rained so much overnight that there were cables on the roof that were submersed in water. It was insane. It was insane, and it was a night shoot. Everybody was tired. Things kept tripping mid take. It was horrible. So yeah, it's waterproof everything, guys.
and then also just picking the right lights and everything, right? Like picking lights that are already waterproofed. Like you can't just rig stuff and then oh yeah, we need to put bags over everything. That you need a shit ton of bags, and that takes more time as well. And when
Hmm.
it rains on set while you're filming, you can't have stuff over it and stuff. Yeah, so many decisions have to be made, and so many things have to be like decided. How
It
do you
comes.
like?
Mm.
Yeah, yeah,
It there's stuff that comes with experience as well. If you spend, because you just don't become a rigging gaffer overnight.
yeah.
You spend a lot of time on with the shooting crew, so you see usually what the problems are. That's how you learn how to
What not
make
to
things
do?
safe
Yeah.
later on, because you see all kinds of shit going wrong.
And yeah, that was my next question then. Like, how do you become a rigging gaffer?
Oof. It's this is an interesting.
Well, everyone
Uh,
has a different story. I think it's with
yeah,
everyone
that's
in
the
the film
thing. It's
industry. There's no linear path.
There is no
Um,
linear path. No.
but like,
Um,
what was it for you?
so I got my first opportunity to be a rigging gaffer on the first season of Sweet Pea because it was a lot. The first season was a lower budget, so they didn't even plan for a rigging gaffer production. But they realized that if you don't get stuff done in time, you're gonna get screwed over and you're gonna lose money. So they asked me. I was just supposed to be a spark, but they asked me if I want to step up, and that was yeah. But before that, I did, for example, before that, I was a best boy on a low budget feature. So you need to have some kind of responsibility. People need to,
Some
uh,
proof
yeah,
that
so
you.
you need to earn people's trust that you can handle more responsibility. Um, you can be, I mean, anything, rigging gaffer, best boy, gaffer, like second unit gaffer or whatever. Most, from what I've seen so far, people grow up together. So it's, for example, it would be harder to become a rigging gaffer for a team you haven't worked with much because it's a big responsibility and those people don't know you. You don't know how they work, they don't know how you work. It's the same job at the end of the day, but um, earning people's trust is more important, I think. So that's what happened in this case because I grew up with this team since I joined the industry. So it's been 5 or 6 years of working together under different roles, Spark, Best Boy, whatever, or second unit gaffer, or charge hand, or rigging gaffer here and there. So you work with a team, you learn how things are done, and then there will always be the opportunity to take more responsibility. For example, let's say it's always schedule. People don't have time. There's like an unexpected location tomorrow. Yeah.
Mm.
It's a small location, but the crew needs somebody to go and rig it. And if it's a small job, there won't be any rigging crew. There won't be any rigging gaffer. So if you're trusted by your gaffer, you can say, hey, can I do it? Or they're gonna ask who wants to go and rig this location tomorrow. And you say, me.
That happened
There's
on
no,
Sweet Pea season two as well. Like when I was there was like one day where there was no time to de-rig the studio, something, and then you were like, oh, you can do it.
yeah,
Someone
exactly,
said
exactly.
someone put their hand up, and then that person was the person then, and yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. It's just people, um, if you are willing to take more responsibility, people are gonna give it to you because there is always a need. Even if you're, let's say the best boy needs to leave the job on a better opportunity because that happens sometimes. People understand. Um, the first whoever is supposed to get priority is the team you work with. If you've been working with the same team for 5 years, if the best boy has to go on a different job, and if there is somebody willing and wanting to be a best boy in that team, they have priority. They're gonna be like, oh, I can do it because you know the job. You know what you're used to how the DP works as well, so it's easier to just jump in and start doing stuff.
You know the structure. You know how they want stuff to be done, how
Exactly.
stuff
And
to be dealt
every
with.
gaffer works in a different way as well. Every DOP works in a different way. Every gaffer works in a different way. So you need if you jump teams, it's harder at the beginning. It's harder to get any responsibility. You just need to do your time, if that makes sense, and learn how other people work. You can work with different teams, but then the amount of time it takes for you to get a higher responsibility within that team increases if you work with separate teams. If you work with the same team for years,
So they know you, and
it's
then
quicker. Yeah,
yeah,
they know
they will
you.
get you back for other stuff. They're like, oh, we need this guy. Yeah, I know someone. There you go.
Yeah, but it also helps to. So, for example, in this case, if you want to be a rigging gaffer, um, rigging is rigging life is a bit different than shooting life, shooting crew life, because the shooting crew on the shooting crew everything is super fast paced and you have to be switched on all the time. If you do things a bit messy, sometimes it doesn't matter because you need to get stuff done, regardless of how it looks, as long as it's safe, of course. Um, but on the rigging crew, on the yeah, as a rigging team, you have to do things in a very organized way because whoever comes to shoot in whatever set you're rigging, they don't know anything of how that place was rigged. They don't know where anything is. So you have to be as organized and clear as possible. If there is a problem, they can fix it very quickly.
Yeah,
So
label everything. Everything needs to be like on, maybe like with messages to the gaffer. Here, this and this is
yeah,
over
yeah, yeah.
here. Here is the
Hmm, hmm,
main
hmm.
stuff. All the data runs to a specific point where you can then troubleshoot worst case in that place. Yeah,
Exactly, yeah. So it's a different. I mean, you have to be very organized on the shooting crew as well.
yeah,
And the truck, for example, you need to know where everything is, blah blah blah. But this the rigging is a bit more of that. So if you want to do rigging, it's very helpful to work both in shooting crews and rigging crews as a spark, because you see it's seeing where the problem is most of the times. Uh, because you obviously learn from your own experience. So if you're on a shooting crew and you go on a set that has been rigged poorly or it's a bit disorganized, you know, oh, if I would, you can think, oh, if I would rig this place, I would have done this differently, or I would have labeled this in a different way, or well, I don't know. I can't give you an example off the top of my head right now, but you know what I mean. You learn from other people's mistakes as well.
then you note that and try to make it better. Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah,
to
yeah.
not do
So
that.
if you want to be a rigging gaffer or even a gaffer, it's more useful to work with a lot of different people and a lot of different job levels as well, like budgets, scales, because the quicker it is for you to solve a problem, the better it is, honestly, because that's the most important thing is just adapting and solving stuff as quick as possible. Because there's no um how can I put this? Because time is money. You can't you need to get shit done and you need to solve problems
Yeah, and
instantly.
every day is another. So it's like so much money. Like normal like day budget for a Spark on those things is a lot, and then just yeah, that's stacked up with how many people you need, and if you don't get it done, then you need another day to do it, and that means more money.
Yeah,
So
and
yeah,
it trickles down. If you don't do your if you don't light the set in time, then the art department can get in and rest the set, and then you keeping other people from doing their job as well. So you need to be on your toes all the time. So and that you learn that by seeing how things have been solved on other sets, for example, and then you can bring it in your own team. It's good to be loyal to a team, of course, because they're going to give you most of the opportunities that are going to advance your career. But it's also good to go out and explore and see how other people get stuff done because um, you can help the gaffer when the gaffer is in a bind on a if you're on the shooting crew and then I don't know you have a massive crane with a massive softbox and then uh, something happens with the power and then nobody knows how to fix it. There is a chance that you might have seen that problem happening on another set and you can help you save the day, and that matters a lot for people because they that's how you earn trust, by doing your job properly and saving the day. Yeah.
are there any like you deal with a lot of machines, so like big
Hmm.
cranes and big stuff. Can you just talk about a bit about that? Like how do you when people know, okay, there's a machine that needs to go there, is it your job to see is the ground strong enough that the machine can stay there? Whose job is that stuff? I
Okay,
don't
so
know.
that is the HOD rigger.
Okay, the rigging,
So
that's all there's.
yes, so the
Okay,
rigger is responsible for any. construction or machine.
Okay.
And then they have to do sometimes there's places where it's pretty obvious that it's safe to have a machine, but there's other places where the HOD rigger has to bring a land surveyor to make sure that whatever the machine is going to be, that space can take the weight, because it's sometimes you work with extremely heavy cranes, like ridiculously heavy cranes.
And then
So you,
huge like lights on that as well that makes it
mhm,
even more
mhm.
heavy. Yeah. Yeah.
So you need to, yeah, they bring a surveyor. If the surveyor says it's safe, then that's great. So they also I think if I'm not mistaken, it depends on the scale of the job. Sometimes you can choose the machine as a gaffer because you know.
How far? Like how high? How far?
Yeah,
Which
yeah, yeah.
angle?
Yeah, so and you also you know what maybe you have experience with that machine and you know it can rotate 360 degrees, you know it can overreach that might, I mean, yeah, you know what it can do. The HOD rigger also knows that because machines are mainly their responsibility. But if the job is smaller, then you have to, of course, you're going to have a rigger to build, to rig, and make sure everything is safe. But you have to think about it if the job is smaller. But on big jobs, the HOD rigger is responsible for the machine. You just tell them, look, I need something that can go 100 meters tall and can have 50 meters outreach. And then it has to be able to tilt and pan and all this stuff. And we're going to put this on it. So you need to give all the information to the HOD rigger, and they're going to choose a machine and make sure that machine is going to be safe in that place. Or if the budget is too tight, they're going to give you an alternative, a smaller machine, so then you have to adapt. It's always about money. That's the thing, because everything else can be solved, but it always comes down to money. For example, on Sweet Pea, we had this massive location in the Ford factory. It's I think it was the largest space we've lit so far. A lot. We were there for like a week, I think, running power and rigging machines and stuff. There were machines everywhere. There we had to adapt because we needed some lights across the lake, but the area where the lake was, uh, where the machine was supposed to be, it had like a grid in the ground. I don't know how it's called. Something to make the ground more stable,
Okay. Yeah.
but it also had a limit on weight. So we couldn't put a machine that was too heavy there. But then because it was a smaller machine, we couldn't put all the lights we wanted. Or if you rig, sometimes you can put everything you want on a machine, but then the weight is at its limit, so you can't drive the machine with all the
Machine
lights
just
on.
stops.
So,
It just doesn't move. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It can still like move, like articulate and do whatever you want, but you can't drive it with all that weight. It's all kinds of all these little
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I went on a tangent.
No, no, that's good. Yeah, that's like exactly what like I think people and I personally I want to know. This is like exactly what you just need to know if you want to go into this field. That is about all these little like small things and details that you just need to know. Um, do you need you when we were in the car together, you told me
Hmm.
you need specific licenses and stuff that would be good to have when you want to become like a spark or rigger or gaffer, rigging gaffer, anyone on set would be good to have.
Yeah, 100%. So, um, to be a spark, I think right now it's enough to have a level two electrician's degree, and
Yeah.
or there's a conversation on the union website. I've seen it recently. Um, you can have. the BS7909, which is temporary electrical installations for the entertainment industry, and um, the wiring regulations. I forgot the number. Let me just check really quickly. Wiring regulations, British wiring regulations.
I feel like that's something that just nobody ever talks about. It's like what, like people who are up in the industry know this, but then the people who are not there, they don't know that, and then they're like, okay, but you don't have it, so you can't be here.
That's the thing. So it's BS7671. Though that's the wiring regulations, the British wiring regulations. So BS7671 and BS7901, 7909, 7909. Sorry. Um, it's it teaches you electrical common sense basically. You don't have to be before. So traditionally, electricians, people were actually electricians. People who were working in the lighting department were coming from the trade, from being an electrician. Recently, it's not that important anymore unless you um, have to pull wires out of walls in locations and stuff like that. It's more of a lighting technician than an electrician, for example. But it's good to have all the electrical common sense because you do have to.
You work with loads of power, yeah.
Yeah, you work with a lot of power and you have to calculate. You need to make sure you're within that
Yeah.
power.
With huge
And
generators and,
mm,
yeah, 100%.
yeah, it's a whole power management is a whole different animal. You get used to it after a while, but it does help to know how it
Yeah.
works.
And you said
So
iPath, right?
yes, I think that's you don't so on larger jobs, riggers have that and riggers can do that. That's not a problem because it's their job. But you still need to run power up in the ceiling, so you need a machine for that. You need to run cables. You need to do all kinds of stuff at height. So it's extremely useful. That got me into the industry actually. That got me into my first TV series. It was because the gaffer was on a night shoot, on like a fashion shoot, and then they needed to rig a light on the machine, and nobody in the team had the iPath to operate a scissor lift, cherry picker. Sorry.
And you need iPath for the insurance, right? Otherwise, they won't
Of
let you
course,
on the
yeah, you
thing.
can. There's no chance.
Yeah, just want to
If
make
if
like sure, you know, make that clear.
Yeah, 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 100%.
Yeah,
Yeah. If you don't have a license, don't get it. It's like driving a car without a license. Just don't, even if you know how to drive the car, it's, you need to be careful with that shit because you can get into big, big trouble. So I highly recommend to get the scissor lift and the cherry picker license. So it's IPAF 3,
A and
3A,
B.
3B.
I just did mine,
Yeah,
and in January I had nothing to do, so I was like, I listened to
that's
you. I was like, I just have to get it,
100% because that
and it
helps
was
you on
so
smaller
chill.
jobs.
Yeah, it's
Hmm.
like a 1 day thing with like with electricians. Like you just do like a little test, and then you do a practical test, and then.
Hmm.
But yeah, if you, I think when you once you have it, it's good to have. And it lasts for like quite a while, so it's good.
Yeah, I think it's 5 years.
Yeah. Does
It's
everyone has to
extremely useful.
redo it every time again?
Yeah, unless
That's
you hold the log. You can also hold the log, but nobody. So you have a logbook that you can write down every time you use the machine, for how long, blah blah blah, all kinds of. But nobody keeps that
okay.
unless you do it because the log is more for people who work in construction because they use it all the time. So there's no need for them to redo the test, or you do like a quick revision test every 5 years, and that's fine. Um, but yeah, I highly recommend it. On smaller jobs, it's crucial to have it because maybe you don't have a rigging team, a rigger team. Maybe you're in a studio that has a overhead truss rig already built in. It's not on cables, so it can't. It's not on chains, so it can't come down. And then you have to rig stuff in the ceiling, and you have to do it as the electrical department, and you need to use a machine to do that.
You can't be on a ladder that goes like 100 feet, like
Exactly. Yeah.
100-meter high, and just like rig stuff like that
No,
doesn't
machines,
work.
man, they help so they make things so faster.
Yeah, and you can put stuff on the machines, all your equipment, the lights that you want to bring up and stuff. Like,
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, I highly recommend it. Yeah, that having a scissor lift cherry picker license got me into the industry because it's very hard. It's very hard to get into the industry as well at the beginning
yeah,
if you don't know anybody.
a specific qualification helps. And
100%. Yeah.
and that was with Elio, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
And you
That's when
said,
I met him.
yeah, and you said you guys were like you understood each other because you both drove motorbikes.
Exactly. We bonded over motorcycles. So it's a thing. That's the thing. Sometimes you have to be lucky. It yeah. Because I don't know how otherwise.
No, that's how it works. Like you just find something in common,
Hmm.
and then yeah, if people like you, they bring you on stuff, right?
Yeah, literally after that job, because I we did the night shoot. I operated and sparked on the job, and then we got along. And then after a couple of days, he asked me if I want to. He told me he has a TV series in the summer, and if I want to join. And I was like, yeah, fuck yeah,
Yeah, hell yeah.
100%. I mean, and then from there, we've been working for 6 years together or more, I think. And he gave me the opportunity to be a rigging gaffer as well.
Amazing, man. That's so cool. Um, yeah, I think I've asked most of the questions so far that I wanted to ask. Maybe if I really enjoyed this. It was really nice having you on here. I learned a lot. I'm sure everyone else learned a lot as well. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure. Pleasure to help.
Yeah, and maybe I can get, yeah, hopefully I can get the best boy, and maybe even like a rigger would be cool to have on here, just to get some more insights. I love, like, I often hear, like, I listen to lots of podcasts about DPs,
Mm.
but they often just talk about their main thing and not very technical and logistical stuff. You
That's the
never hear
thing.
anyone talk about
Nobody
this
knows
stuff.
about the below the line people.
Yeah, and this is the where all the like this is the important stuff. I feel like this is like where everything like gets made. This is how everything is able like to everyone is able to shoot their stuff in time.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. It's the
Uh,
people who make it happen.
yeah,